Good evening, everyone. It's about that time. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to ask that we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silent prayer.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First agenda is roll call. We have Mr. Latchley, Mr. Centini, and Mr. Chasson that are absent. Everyone else is present. The second item is discussion concerning the review of the budget recap. At this time, I'm going to turn the floor over to Mr. Dugas. Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Angel. The first item is discussion and action concerning the review of the budget recap and timeline. If you look on the second page, the only change there is, this has been presented twice before, the only change there is we have added the 2019A construction fund. It's better? No?
Okay.
Close. Okay, better?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We've added the 2019A construction fund to the timeline. We initially thought that that would be finished by April. We thought it was required to be finished by April, but found out that we had met IRS requirements, so we can extend it to December. So you're going to see a budget come to you in that regard, but we'll present that on March 29th. That's the only change to the calendar. Any questions? Did you go to the next one? Okay. The next one is discussion and interaction concerning the proposed budget for 22-23 Special Revenue Fund. The Special Revenue Fund is our grant funds, basically, and what we do, this is more of a placeholder. These are actually estimates of what we will receive next year for these grants. This does not include carryover. Once we receive the actual grant award notifications, we will adjust the budget to actual based on the award notification. Any questions on Special Revenue Fund? Seeing none, we will head to the Capital Projects, Capital Improvements Fund. This, of course, is the smaller Capital Projects Fund, and the next page is the revenues, followed by all the expenditures of the current expenditures, which were added this year, followed by the carry-forward projects, which were not completed in last fiscal year, and we're estimating the amount that will be needed to be spent in fiscal year 23 for completion of those projects. So those may not be the total cost of the project, but just what remains to be spent in 23. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry. You want to go first? The Como High grease trap. Can you tell me what that project is?
Kyle? Don't know much about grease traps.
Because I know there was also a concern with that at Middlebrook. I just want to make sure.
Kyle, there's a mic up here, Kyle.
Como High grease trap. Every kitchen has to have a grease trap or grease interceptor to catch those cooking greases before they enter the sewer system. It's required by the city of Lafayette. That grease trap at that school is original to the construction of the school, and there's some problems that are going on around it because there's some washouts that we've noticed, and it's undersized for what it should be. So that's why we budgeted money to replace it.
Any other questions on capital improvements? Seeing none, we'll go to agenda item 2.4, discussion and or action concerning proposed budget for self-funded construction fund. This is the fund that is larger projects, mostly big maintenance projects in nature that are really budgeted to avoid issuing debt for those types of projects. So we're allowed to use our debt capacity to build new schools and replace them as we have done recently. Any questions?
None.
Good. Seeing none, we will go to the next budget. It's item 2.5, finance discussion and or action concerning the proposed budget for 22-23 Southside High Construction Fund. As you can see, we have a little bit of funds left. Basically, a lot of that is waiting on the process for approval from USDA, which has been a little bit problematic, but we expect that to hopefully end this year. We have to spend the money by 8/3/22. We have requested an extension of that. It has been currently denied, but we expect that they ask for us to request it again once we get more information on the expenditure of these projects. Any questions?
None.
On to the next item, 2.6, discussion and interaction concerning the proposed budget for the 22-23 debt service fund. The debt service fund is presented on the next few pages. One thing you may notice is that there is no new debt proposed for fiscal year 23. We expect to issue debt sometime in 23, but the actual payment will probably not come until fiscal year 24 because we do have money set aside for those 3 capital school projects we're working on. So there is no new debt budgeted at this point, but we expect a new debt to come along in fiscal 24, excuse me. Any questions? Seeing none, we'll go on to item 2.7, discussion and interaction concerning the proposed budget for 22-23 combined sales tax fund. This is the fund that we use to collect sales tax for the entire parish. It is under the jurisdiction of the school board, so we do propose a budget, and the budget is attached. Is there any questions on the combined sales tax fund budget?
None.
Thank you. 2.8, discussion and interaction concerning the proposed budget for 22-23 school food service fund. This is the child nutrition fund. The details are located on the attached schedules of revenues and expenditures for that fund. Are there any questions on the school food service fund?
Nope.
Thank you. 2.9, discussion or action concerning the proposed budget for the half-cent sales tax fund. This is the 2002 tax fund that was passed, obviously, in 2002, and it shows the current budget, the change in this year's budget as presented. Any questions on that one?
Nope.
Seeing none, that ends my presentation.
Mr. Angel,
Yes, sir.
do you mind if we go back to agenda item 2.4? I'd like to ask a question.
Not at all, sir.
Mr. Dugas.
Not at all.
So 2.4, Matt,
Yes.
you're showing $500,000 for Truman Elementary School demo. Are you expecting those funds to be needed in 22-23?
Kyle?
Based on the schedule that we've been talking to the architects about so far, is they would like to start construction in the summer of 22 and finish with construction in summer of 23. So I think the answer to your question is yes. We would need the funds in 23.
So,
Yes.
So,
22 and 23. 23 and 24. 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 23 and 24
in the early part of '23?
Middle, summer of
Summer.
I
23.
mean, I understand, parking the money because it's going to be needed. If this is the right time to do it, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, and part of the process is, so we had some projects that were scheduled for Truman. So what we did, we took those projects that were scheduled for Truman and took the money and because we don't want to implement projects in the school we're going to tear down, and put it towards this as a placeholder for that demo. And there is, as I understand, potentially some asbestos in the floor tiling, so the demo is a little bit more expensive than we'd like, but that's basically because it requires asbestos removal.
So you're thinking occupancy for the new school would be August of '23?
Yes, that's the goal.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Ms. LeBou.
I was gonna ask you this later, but it's the Ernest Gallette floor replacement. Are we replacing more of the carpeting? I know we did a phase of that last year. Is this just another phase?
No, this is for the hallways,
Okay.
and we're going to try and get that done this coming summer.
Before, I'm sorry, Mr. Broussard.
Yes, we are planning on building the 4 schools, Lafayette, Prairie, Council Heights, and Truman. I know that's a carryover from last year, the district carryover funds. Are we still obligated to do certain things? Can some of these be, if it's not absolutely necessary, can we just get them off the to-do list? Because I seen there's something, I was strolling through that and I can't see it. Something besides the demolition with Truman, some other replacement. If it's not necessary, do we have to do it?
It's at the discretion of the board. Some of these projects are carryover projects. They might have started already, and Kyle could tell you more about that. I don't know which projects you were referring to in.
Well, like one of them, the camp, just, it's not to pick on any school, Camp Crow Middle basketball goals and picnic tables. Not, just
That's
in Camp Crow, yes, in Camp Crow Middle. But the schools that we are going to be replacing, it was something here with Truman, something, and I can't find it right now, that we're looking to do some work with. But in any event,
We
if,
kept some money in the accounts for some things, so if Truman has a leak before
Okay.
the school's built that we need to go fix, patch, we wanted money available to be able to keep that school operational from a safety standpoint. So we did leave some money in some of the projects for the schools that'll be replaced.
Mr. Broussard, we
Yeah.
did that for, like Mr. Dugas said, in case there are roof issues before we move into the new location, and our intercoms. We have some older intercoms that we need to ensure that those are working properly on a campus. Prairie is one. I'm not sure, was Truman slated for some? So we left some cushion there as well in case we need to replace parts while we're waiting to move to the new location.
okay, one other question from Mr. Butler. Do we still have the portable restroom at Truman? I go there often, but I
Yes,
can't remember. We still have that?
still there, yes.
Okay. Can you hold it for me well, I've got plans for it,
Yes, Ms. LeBou?
Sorry, I should have asked these in the beginning. Middlebrook, I know they needed playground equipment. Was that funded in this budget already? Are we taking care of that? It was supposed to go in the place of where the portable buildings were removed? It was a request made, I know that. Or if y'all could look into that, just let me know. The second one, I think, was S.J. Montgomery.
Which school was that first?
Middlebrook was the first one.
S.J. Montgomery playground equipment was installed.
Okay, and I know there was a removal of some picnic tables, and are we gonna fund anything new there, or I didn't see that on the list.
I didn't see that as a request at
Okay,
all,
okay. I just
but we'll
wanna make
look
sure.
into that in the Middlebrook.
Thank you.
Any other, yes, ma'am, Ms. Morrison?
I want to ask about Dussault Elementary, the overhang. Is that like a carryover project, or is that project reflected in any of the reports here? I didn't see anything.
Oh, the
So it's-
walkway covers?
Yes.
Yeah, the architect has those plans submitted to the state fire marshal for review at this time. As soon as that comes back from the fire marshal, we'll be putting that out for bids.
Okay.
And
So it's not
there's-
reflected in any of this?
Um,
I didn't see it.
It's on the carryover list, on the capital improvement, item 2.3.
Okay.
Towards the end of that, carryover list on the second page.
Yeah, Tucson Elementary protective covering,
Okay.
117,266.
Thank you.
Yes, Doc, go ahead.
In the item 2.4, the carry forward project expenditures, there's $71,250 budgeted for design intent drawings and specifications for standard classroom wing. Are we still expecting those documents to be received? Has that work been completed? Because I'm not thinking we're moving into the built wing phase of our schools at this point.
That is an item that we did not start yet, but we would like to put together some design standards for Lafayette Parish schools, that we can have standards that on any project, whether it's a wing, whether it's a new school, we can hand that over to architects and engineers and tell them, this is what we would like you to design around, materials, finishes, room layouts,
Yeah,
things like that.
That's been the intent all along.
Yes,
Might be time to maybe try to push that forward and start those conversations.
yes, sir.
Any other questions? If not, I want to remind you that after each item, my fellow board members, after each item, the recommended action is that the board provide recommendations to the administration with regards to adjustments to be made to the proposed fiscal 22-23 capital projects. And my definition of the administration is sitting on the end over there, on the end of the desk.
Yeah.
But speaking of the administration, do you have any comments or any questions?
Only to Ms. LeBou's question about the Middlebrook playground equipment. Ms. Gardner, that was approved in November 3rd, 2021? Yes. So that
Yes,
has been
ma'am.
approved. Correct. Thank you.
If there's no other questions, Matt, do you need some?
So basically, you will see these same budgets come forward with just any kind of changes that may occur between then and now on the April 25th meeting, and for another review. And once we get the okay for that, then we start the approval process, which involves advertising and all the legal requirements to get the budget approved. So you will see this again on April 25th. On March 29th, you will see the rest of the general fund, the group insurance fund, and the 2019 A construction fund.
If there are no more questions or comments, I'll declare this meeting adjourned.
Thank you.